up? What up? What up? What up, people? What's going on out there in sports world, sports talk world? Man, as y'all can see, man, we missing our illustrious leader, the one and only Chase. Kev. But prayers go out to Kev and his family, man. I hear he had something going on with his family, so we're praying for you, brother. We love you. Hurry up and get back. All right, as Kev would say, down below me is the dastardly, dizzy, dirty diesel life. How's everything going, D?
Yes, good try, son. Good try.
Y'all right, probably left or right, whatever, is the Mr. I got all my teeth in my mouth, Coach A. Coach, talk to me.
Hey, that's a good shot. I'll take that shot all day.
Hey,
what's
man,
up, my guy?
It's what it is. You get old like me, they start coming out your mouth. But anyway, look, y'all, we got a lot going on this week.
Live long.
I'm sorry. Uh-oh, he froze. Somebody called you, didn't it? Yeah, you froze. You was.
Come on.
But no, we got a lot coming for y'all this week, man. We have a soccer coach that's going to come on and talk about what he's got going on and what he needs for help with his children, with his kids. I say children. And but anyway, man. Hey, man, tell us about your weekend, man. What's going
on? Had a great weekend, man. Did go in to work, made a little money. But also we did have practice over the weekend. Sunday morning for 3 hours, I think we was out there.
Okay.
So we was able to get it in. I did get some time to work, practice, and chill with the family a little bit. So everything was good, man.
Okay. Well, that's what's up. D?
Pretty much had to work on the car a little bit. Went to go see the Transformers. I was very happy. I'm a Transformer dude. So.
How was it?
Pretty good movie, man.
Okay, cool.
I told you I went to the 40X. I told you to go check out the 40X. Atlantic Station.
Atlantic Station
with the wonders, the moving, the smoke, and the water, and all that stuff. Listen, I don't think I'm gonna go to another movie with that much movement and the seat, doing all this and I just want to watch the movie. It's cool, but it's just a lot going on. And
how much was that ticket?
How
much was that movie ticket?
So 4 tickets cost me $114.
So about $26, $27 each.
Yeah, by $28.
That ain't bad. When you pay 18 to 20 anyway.
So for that experience, 3D, and like I say, you are actually into the movie. I would say, like, if you are a horror flick type guy, or one of those Marvel or DC movies, it's worth every bit of it if you want to experience that, because you feel everything. So if it's fire on the screen, the fire gonna hit you in the face. If it's water, like they run over something and splash water splashes you in the face. You'll get a little mist hit you in the face like that.
Really?
Smoke. Oh yeah, smoke or whatever. Cause the first time I experienced is when I went to see the Batman movie, and like y'all got y'all car guys, when he crocked up the Batmobile, the seats were doing like this, and the smoke and everything. When they fight, it's like psh, 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 and the stuff is flying by you. So I seen Batman that way. I seen the Halloween movie. So when he was stabbing, it was like he was literally stabbing somebody, or you was getting hit with the stabs.
Wow. Okay. And you
so is that inside? So is that inside the regular movie theater, or do they have like?
Yes, that's the only one we have. That's the only one we have in Georgia. 40X. The only one is at Atlantic Station. If you plan a trip, they usually, I think they don't have one theater of it, so you might have to go online and go on and book your seats or whatever. It's a 4-seat pod, so if it's just you and the family, only y'all will be in that little pod like this, because you'll be in there, you'll see the seats moving around with everybody else.
So if me and my wife was to go, we'd probably share a pod with another couple.
Yeah, somebody probably has to be sitting next to you.
Oh, okay.
They won't touch you or anything, but you're right there with them. When you
Got
you know, just like you said, when we go to the regular movies, it's just that they have the scenes to move along with them while you with them. So I
got
guess you might fall into them like this because
yeah.
that's how much movement is going on
And you said that
with the seats.
and you said that this movie there was a lot more moving around and stuff than the other movies that you watched previously.
Yes, because you think about it, every time they transformed, they moved. Every time there was a big explosion, they was racing and stuff like that. The fight scene, it was, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to brace yourself and you'll slide down in the seat dealing with it. So yeah, man, it's a lot. So if it's some movie that you really want to see and you never experienced it, I would say take the fam out at least one time. The women, they love it. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be in a state of shock because it's like, damn, they did this in the movie theater. It's worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you really want to see.
Well, see, I want to do it, but I don't know if I want my first experience to be one where I'm moving so much that I can't enjoy what I'm watching. You know what I mean? And letting you're a veteran of it because you go so much. So if that movie moved you a lot and you know what to expect, then my first time that wouldn't be the right movie to go see in that theater, would it?
I'm trying no, because I'm trying to think. Because what they do, they let it go for about a week. That first week, they
Mhm.
might have it showing, and then they'll shuffle it out and get it to because they got all the movie theaters in there, the 4DX and the 3D for that particular movie. They
Gotcha.
move it out that first week for another movie because everybody's not gonna want to pay that price and go in there and watch that. I think they had the Little Mermaid a week before, and people were
Okay.
like they like the Little Mermaid in it. So what I do, I check and see what's coming out. Nick, I think we got some. Oh, the Flash. So the Flash gonna get ready to come out. That might be one you want to go see.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking about. I'll probably do it one day this week, but like I said, I didn't want that one to be. When you say it moves a lot, then I don't think that'll be my first experience.
Yeah, that was just too much. That transformer was too much. I mean, I was like, I done got my ass kicked in here.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hey, Kent, welcome to the chat, brother. We are going to go right into our topics. We're waiting for our guests to arrive. So until then, let's talk about the NBA Finals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, have set themselves up for a backdoor sweep. That means 4-1 instead of 4-2. I predict Denver Nuggets in 5. Yeah. It's too easy to predict it because they dominated them game 4 in Miami. So,
And
so
three.
what say you, old marvelous one?
To be honest with you, I didn't pick either team in this series, but I did say whoever won game 3 was gonna win the series. And
Mhm.
that was a particular game. Now it's some stuff that has, transpired in this series that we've seen. Denver got too much depth, man. It's a lot going on. One man show Jimmy Butler can't do it by himself. And like I told you when we were discussing last week, the Joker is awesome, regardless if he's not the focal point of that team. He causes so much friction and things that the offense is ran through him that you don't know who you're gonna deal with. So I predict if Miami wins this game, it's gonna be for pride. It's gonna be for pride. I don't see it. And it's catchy because Aaron Spoelstra, if he loses tonight, Skip, he will now be 2-4 in the finals.
Yeah.
2-4, and you have the question. That's right, 2-4, sir. He won two with
Well,
LeBron,
he lost 2 with LeBron.
and he lost the one with Jimmy Butler versus the
That's
Lakers.
right. Against the Lakers. That's right. That's right.
So, that's my prediction. I'm gonna go ahead, A.
We got him? Nope. We froze.
Was Pat Riley the coach when they I'm on? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go on. We got you. We got you. Say
Was
it again.
Pat Riley the
Pat,
coach when they won without LeBron? Or was that
no.
No, that was
Oh
Spoelstra?
no,
no, Pat Riley did
no.
coach
Pat
both
Pat
years.
Riley. It was Baby Van Gundy, the fat Van Gundy,
Yeah,
and then Pat Riley took over and won, and then he turned it back over. And
exactly.
you know what? Because he retired and somebody else became the coach before Spoelstra took over.
Right.
Because Spoelstra
Pat
took
Pat took
over.
over that year that D Wade went off in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know if he was the on the bench coach in the finals, but he was there. He had a whole bunch of input. I think it was like you said, it was Baby
Who?
Van Gundy.
Well, Baby Van Gundy was the coach at first, and Pat Riley took over the team from him when they got ready to go into the playoffs. You remember? Because
Right, that's
Shaq
what it
and
was.
all them. That's when Alonzo Mourning was on the team. They decided that he could come off the bench and all that. They got
Mm-hmm.
all that team together to play right, and Pat Riley had to control that situation. And then they came back the following year. Pat Riley started to coach him, and then he went back into the office. But I can't remember when did Spoelstra take over.
That
But
after
Spoelstra
that,
took
that
over.
next year, the very next year,
Okay.
I think it was that
because
next year.
then
Yeah.
they went and they won with Shaq. Because Spoelstra has 3 rings, right?
Yeah, he has one ring as
With
a
Wade and
assistant.
Shaq,
Yes, and then he got the 2 with LeBron.
right? Because did he have 4 rings?
Mm-mm.
Did he, no. When D Wade won, Shaq wasn't there.
Yes, he was.
That's when he
Yes, he
Shaq.
won his
was.
first ring.
Yeah, remember Shaq came,
I
and that's
remember
when
when he
Shaq
came and they
made
won that year.
they
But I thought
they
D
won
Wade
that
was
year.
by himself.
Because Shaq says, you remember he made the infamous Kobe how my ass tastes, so whatever when he
Yeah,
made that.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, man, y'all tell me, and as a armchair quarterback, which is what we all are, I told y'all this that as the Denver Nuggets go as Joker goes in game 2, when he was semi-exposed, he didn't have his triple double, but he got his points. And the key thing was they held him under 10 assists, and the other players couldn't do what they normally would do because Joker was just so dominant. They made him play defense. They made him work. Game 3, I told y'all if they don't win, it's over. Miami has to win game 3. They could have lost 4 and 5. I think they still would have went 7 games. But by them losing game 3, it showed me that even though Spoelstra was a great coach, he didn't capitalize on what they did to win in game 2. In my opinion, you can't stop Joker from scoring unless you put a hell of a defensive center on him. They didn't do that. They don't have that. And then they let him get all those assists. What did he have in game 3? 16 assists? Something like that?
He had a double again. That's why
No, he
at
had a
which
triple
he,
double in game 3.
Him and Murray, both had a triple double.
30, yeah, triple double. So we're talking about Murray was 32, 10, and 10. Joker was 31, 16, and 11, something like that. But my thing is, those 32 points from those assists, they lost by 18 or whatever it was. Take something away from Joker. You ain't going to take the scoring, so take everything else. Box his big ass out. Get in front of him. Make him work. Not that he probably won't do it anyway, but if you take the oil out of an engine, eventually the engine will explode. And go ahead.
I'm gonna say this: one name is having a hell of a playoff series itself. Gordon. No, Gordon.
Well, yeah.
Gordon for Denver,
but
and
he's a wild card.
But I'm saying that's what you need in these situations, in these series. Is always if you got 2 superstars on the team, through history of NBA, it's always been a Batman and Robin on the team. It is what it is. It don't matter what it is. It's always that third guy that is the one that shows up to get all them dirty hustle points or play some key defense or whatever. If you look at it in that draft, do you know that Gordon was picked higher than the Joker?
Yeah,
they was in the same. They was in the same draft class.
But the thing is, Gordon was the focal point when he was in college. So now that you're on a team where you're not the focal point, people forget who you are. What's the other guy that came off the bench with Denver and scored 18 points? The white guy, dunking the ball.
Oh, the rookie. He's a rookie.
Yeah. Miami don't have that.
Yeah, he's from Kansas.
You see what I'm saying? So everybody else stepped their game up. When Joker was able to distribute that ball, oh shit, we can't double it no more because these guys ain't missing. And this is where the coaching aspect comes in. Go in the zone and 1. Let Murray go. Stop Joker. Murray still got a triple double. How you think that happened? Because Murray was open. Because Joker was open. You see what I'm saying? So you can't stop both. Stop the one that will hurt you the most, or slow the one that will hurt you the most down. Hack a shack.
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
And I see that that Miami does a lot of trapping with Murray, but hardly any with the Joker. The Joker can bring the ball down the court. They lagging off. I'm like, bro, you ain't gonna check him, you know. So it's like Skip said, like you gotta take something away, you know.
From
and
Joker.
I would rather take away the scoring, you know. So trapping more, trapping quicker, get the ball out his hand, ball down, the offense still gonna run through who? The Joker.
But see,
You
now
see what I'm saying?
I get you. But the one thing is we have to recognize that he cannot be stopped offensively.
Well,
he can be slowed down, but if he gets 30, like the game 2 when they lost, he was 30, 38, 45 or something like that. But he had
40. Yeah, he had 41. He had 41, but the assist wasn't there.
Exactly. So take one category away, and now the rest of the team got to step up. But if you don't take them away and the team steps up, it's a blowout.
To be honest with you, this series is over. I don't see no Miami coming back or whatever because they don't have the depth that Denver has. This is moving forward in the NBA, I would say. The Denver franchise has shown how you build a team around a superstar player. They got people in place. That team is young. You see what they did. While the finals is going on, Skip, they done made a trade to get the team even younger so they can keep the salary caps down with players. You know what I'm saying? They probably gonna play Joker and play Murray, but who's the next big fish on their team they gonna have to pay? Nobody. They keep the contracts low. But I mean, for them to be in the position that they are, the Denver Nuggets have never been in no position like this. Far as in the last 5 years span, they have been in playoff talks. They've been in the Western Conference Finals before when he was in the bubble. They dismantled the Clippers. Ain't been shit since they dismantled them in the bubble. And I'm gonna be honest with you, between Murray. At first, I said, well, it's Murray that really runs their team. The Joker just feeding off or whatever. But then when you flip it and this man got 2 MVPs and you put those numbers up, this man is dominant, sir, at what he does.
Right. But see, you know, now when you say dominant, we can't name 4 dominant centers in the league.
No, it ain't but 2.
You see what I'm saying? When I say dominant, I'm talking about they can do it all.
1.5. It's 1.5.
Joker jumped that high. Joker jumped that high off the ground. But Joker jumps that high off the ground, and he still gets triple doubles. Positioning, smart basketball play. But now, like D said, when they played the Lakers, if we had a Dwight Howard, a defensive center, and another big man to come off the bench and just bang him, you know, bump him, do whatever, it'll make him work. If you don't make him work and he gets to pass when he gets ready, shoot when he gets ready, it's a done deal. We saw that. I thought Phoenix was going to drag them. I was worried about Phoenix. Remember, I kept saying, man, I hope if Phoenix lose, we're going to beat Denver. That's what I was saying.
But even
you wanted them.
In that series, yeah, you did. Because even in that series, it showed you again what I told you about Aiden. Aiden was getting his lunch took from the Joker.
Of course.
You see what I'm saying?
Aiden was exposed too. You big as everybody else. You ain't big as a man that can pass that ball or that'll get on that post and hook your ass with the elbow. You know, it's a little different there. But it all comes down to coaching. Just like with like you said about the Clippers. Doc Rivers ain't no coach. Doc Rivers just had a bunch of talent.
At that time.
He won that championship with Boston, he had talent. And he was in the East. In the West, that shit don't work. You know what I'm saying? You had what they used to call it when he had Chris Paul in LA? The running gun. No,
Lob City.
Lob City. That ain't never won shit throwing the ball up and dunking it. Still got to go play defense. And all you had was big man in the middle.
I don't even think they made the Western Conference Finals.
No, they did not.
I don't even think. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man. So now my prediction has changed because I said if the Heat win in game 2, they win in 7, but they lost in game 2. Decided. I mean, it was pretty much a blowout. So now, I mean game 3. I'm sorry. So now, it's over tomorrow night. It's tomorrow night, right?
Tonight.
Oh, okay. So tonight, it's a done deal. The momentum is going to be so. The atmosphere in Denver is going to be where you can cut it with a fork with some scissors, and Miami going to get suffocated. I think the game will be over by halftime.
I think
Go
that
ahead,
we have seen that Miami at times this playoff.
Oh, we lost him.
They also have proven that I'm good.
Come on. Yeah, you good.
Yeah.
Come on.
They also have proven that they can win in Denver, even though they only got one win. So I don't know. I'm gonna toss it up tonight. I still think Denver in maybe 6 if Miami wins tonight, but I just want to see how Miami gonna come out. I want to see what they're gonna do.
Pride game.
I get it. I get it too, but pride would help them in Miami. Pride won't help them with a team that doesn't have an ego. Denver don't have an ego. You know what I mean? Miami has an ego. They have Butler. It's what they call playoff Jimmy. That's an ego. They don't have that. They don't have no nicknames like that in Denver. They got the Joker. You know what I mean? That's his name, whether it's playoffs or regular season. He's the Joker. He don't transform to a better player in the playoffs.
And it's like Novocaine. He gonna give it to you, sir. He gonna give it. He gonna give it to you. I don't care how you want it, and that's why he got a nickname, the Joker. I'm gonna get my rebound. I'm gonna get my points, and I'm gonna get me a triple double. And I guarantee you.
That's why I said the game will be over at halftime. It'll be one of those ones where in the third quarter they're gonna be substituting in the bench players to get them some finals experience. That's
it's gonna be a pride. Miami gonna have a pride game. I don't see them winning.
I think it's gonna be 15 points. It's gonna be a 15-point victory. I'm telling you, they're gonna suffocate them. All right. Anything else y'all want to say about the finals, man? We got Coach backstage. We're gonna try to bring him on with this soccer thing and get some stuff. Oh, he left? Oh, well, looks like he left. All right. So hopefully when he comes back, we'll get him on in here.
No, we got our topic.
So wrap it up with the NBA Finals. Coach Abe, you say Denver in
5.
Boom. Coach D. D. Denver in.
It's over tonight. 5.
Exactly.
I'm
with the consensus. I predict the blowout. This will be Denver's first championship for NBA. It's going to be star-studded. They're going to have a trophy in the arena, and that in itself is going to will Denver to just they'll probably shoot high 60% tonight, and that is a lot. So Joker will solidify himself. He's going to solidify himself as probably the best center to do it in the finals because he's done stuff in the finals that no other center has done. Not saying he's the most dominant center because he's nowhere close, but the stuff that he's done and doing, no other center has done. So he's going to leave his mark tonight, I think.
Question. So you said he's nowhere close, right? So where is he? Right? Where is he right now in your all-time centers?
I'm gonna say at least 6. I'm gonna say at least in 6th place, and I'm gonna say, and this is why. Pretty much the only reason he's only been the one.
Okay.
So we can't take that 1 year because it could be an anomaly. Because we've seen people get in the finals and just shut down. So to me, he's playing level-headed because the rest of his team is stepping up. But let them miss shots 2 games in a row, and everything's on his back. Can he carry that weight? He hasn't had a game in the whole playoffs where nobody has stepped up, whether it be bench players, role players, or whatever. So until he has to be the Shaq feed Shaq 40 times a game, you know, or get Robinson. I mean, get Duncan the ball. Let everything run through Duncan, free throws, everything else. Then we could probably move him up. But I'm gonna say 6 because of what he's done so far.
Okay, so you say Bill Russell, Shaq, Wilt. You put David Robinson over him.
Tim Duncan, because he's a center also. David Robinson just happened to be there. And then he won without David Robinson. And he won without David to where
that's real.
He was the man.
Okay, so who's the 5th?
Oh, let me think.
Elijah
Warren, the dream.
There you go.
Yeah. To be honest with you, that's a strong 5 for Elijah Warren.
See, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it,
Elijah Warren might be over Wilt.
Yeah. Russell. We forgot about Russell.
Russell 1.
I said Russell first.
Russell 1. Wilt, Elijah 1.
Well, you said, wait a minute, Russell 1.
We forgot about Kareem. The captain.
We got a problem there because if you are based on what y'all saying, the Joker don't even make it in the top 6.
But I just said that on top of my head. I didn't think about it. I just gave him 6. But you know, now that we're thinking about it, he's in the top. I'll say he'll break the top 10 once we go back and look at all the centers that actually dominated. Moses Malone is not in that because he only been the 1, and he only had to show out at 1.
The crazy part is Shaq might be 5.
Ooh, wait.
And I'm gonna say, you know why I'm saying that?
I'm gonna put Russell in front of Shaq. I'm gonna put Elijah Warren in front of Shaq. I'm gonna put
Shaq. Okay, that's I get it. That's what I was going. You know what I was gonna give you. I was gonna say Elijah Warren.
Wilt ain't in the top 5 for me.
Okay.
Wilt just was dominant for what he was. You know,
okay.
That was for Wilt. That Russell beat him with a team. Russell didn't beat him one-on-one. You know what I mean?
Yes, he did.
But I'll put Shaq at 4. But
okay.
So let me see. Do we have Coach back yet? He's back. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage is a coach that needs an introduction. He has a soccer program here in the greater Atlanta area. And let me get his name. It's Coach McClellan. Can we get him on the screen here, Coach McClellan?
Hello.
What's going on, Coach? There you go. That's better. How you doing, Coach?
Hanging in there. Sorry I'm late. I was just at the fields training, actually.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Coach, what we're gonna do before we get into talking to you about your soccer program and everything, we're gonna pay a bill, man. We're gonna bring up one of our commercials, and then we'll get right into it with you, Coach. So,
no problem.
Are you and your friends or family looking to have a good time? Come experience Too Fresh Transportation. They offer multiple luxurious vehicles to choose from that are super clean and COVID sanitized. With all vehicles having a wide range of seating space, a custom bar with a hookah, and an Apple and Google TV, a PlayStation 5, a removable dance pole, and a custom stereo. So remember, next time you book a ride, book Too Fresh, because Too Fresh is above the rest.
All right. We back with Coach Sheldon. Hey, Coach, if you can you unmute your mic? There you go. All right, Coach Sheldon. Yeah, we're gonna call you Coach Sheldon. I ain't gonna call your last name like that. There you know everything. But anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself, man, and what you are and what you do.
All right. I'm Coach Sheldon. I've been coaching soccer. Well, I've been playing soccer since I was about in 3rd grade. Picked up on it, started out playing kickball, and the coach saw me. He was like, "Man, you can kick that ball." He's like, "You should try soccer." So ended up on the soccer field, didn't know what I was doing. You know, being a young brother from the inner city of Macon, Georgia, had no clue about the sport back in the 80s. Just jumped out there and found out real quickly that I could just do that, just kick a ball. There was a lot more to the game than doing that. But I was fortunate to have some good coaches coming up that actually taught me the game, gave me the game. Doing so taught me a lot about life, just playing team sports or structured sports, And now that I have the opportunity, I try to do my best to give back to my community, first and foremost, and just to the community at large through the game of soccer. So I coached the varsity boys team at Carrollton High School in Carrollton, Georgia. I coach a U14 boys team in West Georgia for Georgia Storm Club. Also coach a U8 team. So I coach a team of 6 and 7-year-olds as well. And just recently, my my U14s about a year or so ago, we were ranked as high as about 18th in the country, in the nation. Little old team out of West Georgia.
All right.
Yeah. So I just wrapped up my soccer camp. I had one last week at Carrollton High School. Had about 90 kids from the Carrollton or West Georgia area at the soccer camp that we had, and just introducing them to the game of soccer and trying to grow it. I started 5 years ago with 26 kids, and this past year I had 90. So
Now that's what's up.
Wonderful.
So
Wonderful.
coach, with listening to what you just said, you started playing soccer because the coach saw you kick the ball and realized, hey, this kid could be good at this. Now
Right.
you coach on the high school level now, correct? And
Yes.
then you have the
Yes.
other leagues that you coach outside of school.
right.
Can you explain to me how it is that do the kids seek you out, or is it something? Do you seek them out, or give them an opportunity to come play? How does that work for the 8U you said you have, and the 14 and up?
So that speaks to soccer in America, or youth sports, I would say. Typically, there's a rec program, right? And in recreation balls, $50, $60, $100, about $100 now to play recreation, any sport. And then for the players that excel at recreation sport, or not just out there to have fun or to try it out, that are actually good at it, then they seek a higher level. And then that level is what we consider academy ball, will be equivalent like an AAU in basketball. It's called academy in soccer. And then there's levels to the academy, to the soccer academy level. So it starts, the earlier you can get in academy side, outside of the rec side, the faster you are, the better you can be, the more chances you have to get seen.
Okay. Now, with all of the stuff that you said you do, coaching the 8U to 14U and your high school team,
Right.
your
And I
son.
do training as well.
Oh, so you don't even work then? You can't
Yeah,
work doing all that.
and I'm a referee, so I'm a referee as well.
So soccer is your life. That's
Yeah,
what's up.
soccer is life. As I say, football is life.
Oh, okay. That I not that football. Now, one question before I let Mr. D here get on you, and then when I
Yeah.
say get on, that's when I ask questions.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
son, I understand
Yeah.
your son is a soccer prodigy. Tell me a little bit about him.
Yeah, so I've been personally training him since he was about 5 years old. He made the U.S. Olympic state team for the state of Georgia. He made the regional team, and also got invited to try for the U.S. national team. He's, I guess, if you want to rank that, he's one of the starting players on the state team, so that would put him, I guess, in the top 11 in the state of Georgia. Now, I'm not saying he is one of the best 11 players. There's a lot of untapped talent that's out there. A lot of players that haven't even been seen. But as far as being seen and evaluated, he's there. He plays on a team in Georgia, and they also a high level team out of Alabama as well, and along with the state team. So we do a lot of traveling. Go see a lot of cities and states around the U.S. just playing ball. And you can follow him on Instagram, Bryce Carter _23.
We gonna get all that out there. Don't worry. We gonna get you out there. We gonna get you out there. Mr. D, you got some questions for him?
Yes, coach. So I was telling them before you came on, we was talking about like why is it that soccer inside the inner city is not promoted as it is in some of the outskirts? I'm gonna say outside of 285, because you say you're in the Carrollton area, and I was discussing them with my other counterparts here that back in, I want to say late 90s, early 2000s, I have two family members who kids was playing soccer right off of East West Connector. I think some soccer field that was right there. And I've never seen just pulling up how the soccer fields was filled with young kids back then. And I was just like, y'all playing soccer, y'all don't want to play basketball and football? When I'm talking to the kid. And their mother was like, do you know how much my son can make it 14 from a sponsorship? And I looked at her like, what? This
Yeah.
is back in 2000, Skip. The
Right.
mother told me this. She said, "Dear, I'm not gonna let him go out there and play football and basketball where he can get a contract now and get sponsorship and get paid millions of dollars." And I think we can remember, Coach, you might can correct me if I'm wrong back then. Wasn't it a guy from USA that got sponsorship to play overseas and got a big contract at a young age back around that time?
Yeah. 14 years old. Freddie Adu. Actually, it was here in
Freddie
America
Adu,
where he
yeah.
got where he
So
got to play here in the States.
yes, and I remember that. And when she told me this, it was like it was an influx of kids in that area playing soccer. They moved and moved to Jacksonville. I went and stayed in Jacksonville myself with them, and I seen again the soccer fields. I didn't see too many of us playing, but
Mhm.
I seen a lot of demographic of kids out there, from different nationalities. And you might have one, two of us. You have the girls. The girls would be out there playing, but not too many males
Right.
playing the sport.
So
Got
what you probably saw and what happens typically is it's a it's a way for the immigrant community to stay connected to what they I guess not necessarily hold dear, but what's their culture, right? It's
Yes.
like it's like if a group of inner city kids moved to Honduras, we would all be out there throwing a football around if there was a football field around there or playing basketball. So when they come to the States, their mom, dads, and they're here, how they connect. The El Salvador community will get out there and play against the Honduran community, will get out there and play against the Mexican community, and so on and so forth. And so you very rarely see African Americans and or I would say even Caucasians out in that type of environment in small
Hmm.
numbers. I'm not saying they're not there, but small numbers. The
right.
main reason why is in America. I say this loosely. Soccer is a white collar sport, but I mean you can say that about any sport at a high level. I mean baseball it costs $3,000-4,000 a year to play baseball. Football at a high level costs to play. And when you get the best players in the world that are it, that are out here playing just pick up ball, the financial piece is what keeps them from being seen on the bigger stage as you would necessarily see it in the rest of the world. And so like I said, I was explaining about my son. Yes, he's up there, but I know players, and my son will tell you that we think that could do him up on the field, but they'll never get seen because of that monetary piece when it comes to being getting put out there.
Now, my next question, because I'm saying I was getting educated back this in the 2000s. Your son,
Hmm.
is he a defenseman or he's a striker? If I'm saying the right terminology, you tell me if I'm wrong.
Right. So he plays in the center of the midfield. So
Okay.
he's not a striker, no, not at all. But he's not just a flat out defender, a center back.
Mhm.
So he plays in the midfield. He has to do a little bit of both. He's kind of like a quarterback on the field. He sprays the ball around. He looks for more assists than he does actually getting goals. So he kind of facilitates a lot of the offense, but he also is one of the first lines of defense on counterattacks and things like that. So it
So
requires a lot.
I got one more, and I'll let it go. I got one more skip. So
Yeah, yeah.
even what you just described to us, we're looking at it in like version naked eye. We're looking at like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I just see him kicking the ball back and forth until I got educated that those are the defensemen. They don't cross over that line and so forth and so on. When you evaluate our kid coming into your program, how you break it down? Because of course we know football, baseball, and basketball. Your
Right,
kid gonna be this. You didn't have the challenge with that also, because I know you got it. Oh, I want them to score goals, but you like, wait
right.
a minute, hold on. I need them to play
Yeah.
goalie. I might need them to do this.
Right. So and typically that starts in rec. Just with any sport, you start realizing who's your athletic players, right? And then you soccer coaches look for certain skill sets for different players to have. So just like in basketball, typically you would want your center to be a certain height, right? You don't put the shortest guy in the center position. So in soccer, you want your speed typically on the wings, on the outside on the outside of the field so they can fly up and down the field. You want you a fast striker, but you don't necessarily have to have a fast striker. or somebody that goes score goals. Just somebody that can hold the ball or keep it long enough for your speedsters to get up the field. Um, is there defense? Typically, you want tall, physical defenders because they have to deal with balls coming at them in the air and things of that nature. Typically, okay. I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, as we know, but so coaches look for different attributes in players, from speed to how technical they are. Usually, your most technical players will be in your midfield, that do all the little tricks and stuff. They'll be typically your midfielders, and your defenders or your fast big bruisers kind of in the back. So that's what you start looking for and trying to identify those different positions and talent attributes in players and when they're younger, so you kind of know where to place them when they get older for the game.
Gotcha. Now, with all the stuff you just explained to us, as a
Hmm.
coach who knows the game inside and out like you do, if you get a player to transfer in, whether he be Hispanic, of African descent or whatever, ones that, they grew up playing this sport, and say he was a striker everywhere else, but he'd be better at, the wing, like you said, or a defender or what have you,
Hmm.
how do you make him understand that he's more suited to do this on this team versus just letting him play what he's comfortable playing?
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge of coaching, right? The psychological piece, of getting the players buy-in. So, one of my favorite coaches, a guy by the name of Pep Guardiola, he's coached Man City, who just won the Champions League. But he's famous for making the goalkeeper, a part of the field. So he once went to the goalkeeper and said, "Hey, in this system that I'm going to run, I'm going to need you to be an extra person to hold the ball, to play with the ball, and things like that." And the first goalkeeper was like, "You're crazy," because no goalkeeper had ever really done that. I'm going to stop shots, punt the ball in the field. Well, he's like, if you trust this system, now we've got 11 players on the field that can be a part of the attack and offense. And he was able to convince that goalkeeper that, and he revolutionized the game just by making the goalkeeper an extra player on the field with their feet and whatnot. I typically try to show the player, right, within the system that I have, and during trainings and different ways I have to make sure that the player sees success in the new position that I'm putting them in. And once I get that buy-in from a team aspect and they see some success, even if it's in training, I may put them against a weaker player just so he can see success at that new position. And once they get that buy-in, that okay, yeah, I'm just as good here as I am up top. Now I can be a dual threat. I can go here, go there. If coach needs me to. Once I get that buy-in, then it makes things a little bit easier when in terms of getting them to change positions. But it's little tricks and things that coaches do. I
Yeah.
mean, if I'm wanting to play defense, I may put the second team striker against him for a little while, so he sees success as a defender, and then he's like, "Oh, yeah, I can do this," and then start upping it, up the ampage on him a little bit from
All right.
there. But just trying to get that team buy-in.
Gotcha. Now, Kev, who's normally our moderator, he's in the chat audience. He has a question, and
Yes,
the
sir.
question is: have you seen growth in the Atlanta market with the Atlanta United having so much success? Now, before you answer that question, we talked earlier today, and we talked about this subject, and then the other stuff that we're going to get in the politics side of it. So, can you answer that question for me first before we get on into
Uh,
what we talked about earlier?
most definitely. It's I mean soccer is also, since they won, when they were winning a lot of games, when they won the league, the MLS championship,
Hmm.
that helped soccer grow. Arthur Blank and that program, they do a lot in terms of grants, a lot of community things that they do to try and get more people playing. They do have a an academy, or they did, which my son made the team, but I turned it down. He was 11 years old at the time, and it was just too much, in my opinion, for what they expect at that age. But that's neither here nor there. To answer the question, though, I mean, soccer's grown leaps and bounds, right? They every year around this time, there are tryouts at every club, and just in my son's age group, he's like I said, he's U4, will be U15 now. At one club alone, I went. There was 300 kids trying out for 2 teams at that one age group. Out here in West Georgia, there was about 75 kids in his age group trying out for one or for 2 teams here. So it's grown tremendously since the last World Cup, and that was here, and also since Atlanta United has gotten here. It was huge for the community soccer wise.
Okay. Coach Abe, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Being a fellow coach, I work with different age groups. So, and you said as well that you work with, smaller kids versus, kids your son's age and older. Which is more challenging and more enjoyable? Coaching the younger kids and grooming them up, teaching them everything that or catching them at older age where they may have learned some stuff from other coaches. You may have to correct some stuff, you may not. So which one do you take joy in coaching more?
So because I'm a trainer, I love starting with the younger kids because you start with a clean slate, right? They don't have the bad habits that they have wasn't taught to them. It's what they just think it is, and so it's easier to get their buy-in, especially once they see the little things. I like seeing that light bulb go off once they get it, and I get goosebumps sometimes as a coach. That's one reason why I still do it. It's definitely not for the money, but. Then when you get to the most challenging has been for me, like I was talking to Skip earlier, is the high school level, especially in the last 2-3 years or so, especially since this group has now been inundated for years with social media.
Yeah.
And what I have found at the high school level, and I'll tell my players, the individuals, they get to a point where they believe their own social media hype that they create for themselves. So I've had a player tell me before, Coach, why am I not getting playing time? Have you not seen my TikTok?
Oh hell no!
Coach, have you not been on my Instagram, Coach? I mean, I need to be on the field, and I'm like, I'm looking at your highlight reel every day in practice. Like, no, you're not doing what you need to do to get on the field. But they take snippets from moments and they put it on social media. They don't put all the shots that they missed. They put that one goal that they made though, and then they start believing that, and then they want to interject that onto the coach or into their everyday lives. And it's been rewarding to a sense, helping them navigate out of that at the high school level and back to reality, so to say. But that is the most challenging aspect of it. And I've had a few players I've run into and say, hey, Coach, I appreciate you keeping it real with me. I'm working now. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I see what you were saying back then. And that's always rewarding when they come back to you and once they realize and get it. But that's the big deal.
I got one. I got one for Coach Abe and you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being out there in Carrollton and that football program that they have out there.
Yeah.
Are you asked to train the kickers for the team? Because I'm sorry, Coach, from what I've seen in the inner city, the talent is always there, but it lacks on one position on the football field, the kicker.
Yeah.
You can go up and down the field and score all those points, but when you get in a crucial situation, you don't have a kicker.
Right. So one thing the coach out here does they do a good job of trying to, like I said, identify players early. So my son, he's going to the 8th grade. He's already been asked to kick on the 9th grade team, right? Whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know, because their games on Saturdays and he plays soccer on Saturdays, right?
Gotcha.
But the kicker last year at Carrollton High School, first time ever kicking, ended up with a full ride to Jackson State. And because he kicked a 47-yarder in the semifinals against Colquitt. But the backup kicker was also a defender on the soccer team. So this year they had kicking tryouts, and about 12 soccer players went to go kick. Now, I don't train the kickers in football because it is a completely different form and technique with their hips and things like that, how they have to be square and how you kick through the ball. So just because you can kick a soccer ball a long way doesn't mean you can do the same thing with the football accurately. But it is a dang good start. And that's why typically schools, even in the inner city that have strong soccer programs, will have a good kicker on their football team. And it is 90% one of their soccer players that
So
kicks because of that.
You
so
just said something, coach. You just said something. Get him,
yeah,
Skip.
yeah. What you just said just blew my mind about the soccer kicker, and because most of the NFL kickers now that kick the ball 50 plus yards, they play soccer.
Yes.
So it's a whole different technique. But
Yes.
with the strength that soccer kickers have, it translates to football. So how is it that, in your opinion, a soccer kicker with all of that power can change his hip settings and everything to kick a football? How does that work? Is it
So
something
it
that he has to learn, or can you teach that?
so I mean I can teach it, but it's something that has to be brought to the player's attention. And then they have to do it repetitively in order to kind of break the soccer habit. So soccer kickers swing their legs across their body. And if you kick a football the same way, it's gonna hook every time.
Right, right.
Right? But with football kickers, you have to keep your hips square and kick straight through the ball in order to get it to go straight, so to say. And so if you have a kicking coach, like for example, well, of course Carrollton has one, but um, when my son went and other players they go, the kicking coach has to talk them out of kicking it like a soccer ball first. But the power's there. They understand where to hit the ball in order to make the ball do different things because of soccer. So you have it's easier to learn kicking faster if you played soccer, but it's also a technique that has to be taught and learned.
Gotcha.
It's different. It's not the same. It's not the same. But like I said, the guy last year, that was his first time ever kicking football,
Mm.
and we were at a soccer game. I'll never forget it. The year before that spring, and he was kicking all of our goal kicks, and he could kick a goal kick 70, 80 yards from a soccer ball.
God.
And the guy came out of the stands and was like, "Hey, you ever thought about kicking football?" And he was like, "No." He's just like, you should. And so it kind of sparked a little something, and he just went out and did it. So this year when they had it, about 7 or 8 soccer players, they were all the ones that were picked. And then of course the school they went down and figured out how they wanted to go about doing it. But it is a different technique for
Mm.
All
sure.
right. Okay. So now,
What you got, eight? Go eight.
go ahead, Coach A.
So coach, you said that they want your son to kick for the freshman team.
hmm
If you allow that, okay, and his football career, gradually starts to build up, will you get to a point where you're gonna say, all right, no more soccer, you just focus on this? Or does it kind of coincide, hand to hand? Can he still train soccer and still be that kicker? With
Right.
the mechanics being different, what if that happens? Will you or will you not allow it to further?
So one thing that I'm real conscious of as a coach and as a father is burnout. I think it's real. I've seen it. I've seen players go through it. Right. So when kind of like go back to when Atlanta United was like, yeah, we want him to come play. I said, well, when he's 15 or 16, we can talk. But at 11 years old, I don't know. I call it the two P's. But since this is a family show, I don't know what girls and puberty is gonna do to him. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh,
so,
That's
so
real.
I'm
It's
that's
real.
that's
just real.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Damn.
It's real.
You know what?
That's a good one.
As a coach,
You know,
that right there is a gem because
yeah,
a lot of parents don't think about that.
they
They just
don't
know I got this athletic ass child, but don't realize a girl can derail all that shit.
all of that. So he and I we have candid conversations. And I tell him all the time, like whether you continue to play or not, I'm going to still coach because that's what I love to do. And I'm only going to go. I told him that I will meet him halfway in helping him achieve whatever goal that he wants to do. Meaning that I'm not going to wake him up and make him go train. I'm not going to wake him up in the morning and make him do the push-ups and the leg raises and stuff like that. If he comes to me tomorrow and says I want to quit, I'll tell him fine, but you can find something to do. You're not going to sit home and play video games all day. But if that's your prerogative, that's fine. I'm not forcing him to do it. If it comes down to it, and football is a pathway to get some college paid for, please believe he's going to be kicking a football on somebody's team, right?
He's heating up.
Okay.
But I mean, what people don't realize, soccer, even in the United States, you're competing against everybody in the world to play in college.
Yeah.
In football, you're competing against everybody in America. In basketball, in America, in some parts of the world. In baseball, in America, and maybe the Dominican Republic. But in soccer, you're competing against everybody in the world to play. Those scholarships go to players that are coming from overseas. And then whatever's left over goes to American-born players. That's why you have to have your grades. That's why and coaches will tell you they look for different ways to get your money, but they only have so much to go around in soccer, which is not one of the top 3 sports. So, those scholarships aren't easy to come by. But so if I can recoup some of the money I've spent, in college fees, I'm there.
Okay.
And coach, that's interesting that you said that about the aspect of the scholarship, because when my daughter was playing softball and we went for a tryout at a college, the guy told us we only have scholarship money for the pitcher and the catcher. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, that's who we get scholarships. And she can go get some financial aid and we can get on here.
Yeah.
She can probably make the team, but that's the only scholarship money we have. And I was like,
Right.
well, why are we here? But they had us showcasing the pitcher and the catcher skill. Oh yeah, they wanted somebody out there to hit the ball, see Cheyenne field and throw the ball back in first base, but it was about that pitcher. And that pitcher that came all the way from California here to Atlanta to try to showcase. And I was like, we here for this pitcher?
Yeah, that's real.
Well, all right, Coach. We have a little bit more time with you, so we're gonna get straight into the nuts and bolts of why soccer doesn't have the financial backing, access to facilities like the other 3 big sports we just talked about. Now, with you doing everything you're doing in South Georgia, or Carrollton's considered South.
West Georgia.
If you had, what do you think needs to be done to help broadcast soccer out to the inner cities in Atlanta, so to speak? Because we know there's athletes everywhere. Like you said, my son is considered a prodigy, but as well as he does that there's players out there that probably could give him the business, but they don't have the exposure. They don't have the parents that could, financially put them in place. So what do you suggest, or what do you think we need to try to achieve to get these kids that exposure or the look that they need?
So there's a few nonprofit organizations, my training company being one of them, and then there's a Champions in South Fulton that's directed by an amazing coach that try to bring soccer to the inner city and a little bit more. Because we're in America and we and our financial system being what it is, which is, I love it, great, not knocking that whatsoever. But like we talked earlier, compared to the rest of the world, because these kids that we see playing for free in these pickup games, they can't really afford to play any level much higher than rec. Right. And so those players kind of go under the radar. And so, like, I've taken upon myself, and I know others, to help those players, some players that are dedicated, to get them seen and get them out there. But I mean, for my son on the regional team, it was $300 to try out. It was 200 kids trying out. They all paid $300 to try out. And if you don't get picked, guess what happens? You lost your $300. Yeah.
That we talked about this earlier, but that's the part that drives the inner city families away. I
Yeah.
don't have money to waste for you to get out there and not apply yourself, or just get out there and have a bad day.
Yeah.
You know, and not speaking for myself, but for the parents that expect their kids to be high tier and they're actually mediocre, but they'll need a coach like you to open that bag, so to speak. What is it that you think could help you help them? Like, for instance, and here's an example before you answer. For hypothetically speaking, David Beckham was to come here and visit and say, "Hey, I want to dump $1 million into this facility so we can, have those dollars to get those kids that probably couldn't afford it on a team." What do you think could help you get that message out there to bring them on? We got them.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting, kind of with a lot of the, I guess, older players as they leave these huge clubs that come to America and play in the MLS. That's one thing. One of the differences is when clubs like one that I work for, once you what really incentivizes these coaches, right? What really motivates these coaches to find the next Messi or the next David Beckham, or whoever it may be in these areas. Well, if you can provide access to it, if soccer was free, you how many people wouldn't play football or wouldn't play basketball or baseball and would come out and play soccer, or vice versa for any sport, right? If you said, "Hey, the rec program is going to be free," so overseas is generally what it is. It's a poor man's game, so to say. Anybody get up and play. They play it on the streets, on the sidewalk, and they play. Um, and just here, unless you're in certain communities, that's just not the case. And what happens is when a club produces that player that gets signed by a major, let's just say Atlanta United,
Mm-hmm.
um, a guy by the name of George Bello, he plays for Atlanta United and is on the U.S. national team. He's from Douglasville, Georgia, right? He played at SSA and Georgia Storm, right? But when he got signed to Atlanta United, did either one of those clubs get any kickback from that signage? They're the ones that developed him,
Now,
right?
Mm,
does he
Atlanta
come back?
United did.
But see, the thing
Was
is,
that?
what I'm talking about, I guess this is part of the answer. He was developed by those clubs down in the Douglasville area. Does he come back now that he's gotten the money, so to speak? Does he come back and try to input into these same clubs that helped him?
He's been around. I see what you're saying. I guess a lot of our players in the American players, I haven't seen it as much as you do when you hear about players overseas doing that, going back to where they're from. I mean, Jonathan Jones, he does a football camp here in Carrollton every year, and he's always back here. He's always donating to the football program, and so everybody knows, you know what I'm saying. But you don't really get that from the soccer community because it's not as welcomed or as received, so to say, or typically you get that once a player is already past his playing time, they're all so focused in on getting on the field and competing that the time to come back out and give back. I mean, they'll come back and do some signings and things like that, but to actually host camps and whatnot, I see football players do it all the time,
Right.
through their nonprofits and things like that. But in the states, because most of your stars aren't from here, you very rarely see that, right?
And
So
I guess
they go
and
back to
I'm
their
talking
they go
about
back to their I'm sorry, real quick. They go back to their communities though. Joseph
right.
Martinez didn't, when he was in Atlanta, didn't really do much in Atlanta that much, but he did a lot back home in Venezuela. You know what I
right.
mean?
And see, I guess that's what I guess that was kind of what I was relating to, is that if this guy from Douglasville, he's an anomaly, and
Yeah,
he made it. It seems like in his mind, or at least some of his former coaches, they should be able to reach out to him and say, "Hey, man, come back." Even if you
right.
don't donate the money, bring it back so people can say, "Damn, he on TV. If I just
Yeah,
focus, I could do what he's doing."
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Do you notice? Well, I guess, are the coaches? Do you know if the coaching staff has even reached out to him to try to get him to come back to talk or show his face, or is it something you
uh,
think? Good.
I mean, it's I
Nope.
don't know. I think probably not. No,
Right.
Nope.
and it's something that it's a missed opportunity. I feel that a lot of clubs have that some in areas and communities have, especially when they do have homegrown, what we call homegrown
Yeah.
talent that make it out. And they're players from Atlanta, Georgia, and different areas that we all know about. But it's like, well, then what are they doing to give back to the game that's giving so much to them?
Exactly.
And to me, it's that mentality or that part of it is what I feel like is should be amped up some more.
And they forget where they came from. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I made it, so fuck y'all. You know,
Uh,
so
Yeah.
and I'm sorry y'all for taking over, man. Coach AD, y'all chime in, man.
I mean, it's exactly what Coach is saying. And like I told you, when we was talking about the demographic area of some of these places where these kids are. Just like he said, the Venezuelans, the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, and so forth. They go back to their communities, and it's just like we deal with in our everyday life of just going where we shop at. They take their
Yeah.
money back to their community. They'll come and take it from us and they put it back in their community. It's the same thing with some of the sports. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? We try to keep the athletes that we want homegrown. I don't care what it is. Okay, he gonna go to this high school. He gonna go here. Well, coach might have a program out in Carrollton that can set him up to be where he needs to be. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And I understand what you're saying, coach. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, they play here, but we're gonna go back to our native country and we're gonna invest. Just like the baseball players, that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know what
No,
I'm
you're right.
saying? They go back to their country.
Yeah. And it's so like and even for me, I'm a West Georgia guy. I've been out here for 12, 13 years now, and I want soccer to grow here. I coach at the high school out here and everything. But the club where my son plays at now, mainly because of where we are, um, I have to drive an hour and a half for him to find the level of play where he is. Right, either I go into Atlanta where everybody is that's everybody moves to with some of the bigger clubs, or I drive over to Alabama an hour and a half that way to the big club over in Alabama, right? And this is just hard getting unless you have a really good team, players to come out here to play. Some players came to play with my son, and we had a really good team for a while. But the club that we were at, it's a smaller club, and that can only get you so far as exposure. So you have to
Hmm.
go out and try to find a bigger club that gets you more exposure. Because I tell people this, for example, it's $2,000 almost for is the season fee, right? And if I'm going to pay it at a small club or a big club, what is the difference? And it boils down to, as a parent, is the exposure, right? I mean, I can have a good team, but how can I get that team seen? So then you have to find a club that's going to get your kids some exposure, and that's the reason why sometimes you have to leave a smaller club for that reason, especially if your player is ready to make that jump.
Gotcha. So, Tippy, one of our viewers,
Hmm.
I'm gonna see if I could decipher this because I think I understand what she's saying. So it says accepting from the family standpoint plays a role too. If the kid is playing a sport the family doesn't know well, I guess it means it can be shut down or they can shut it down or not support it. I'm assuming that's what that means.
Yeah. So like, you get players that want to play soccer,
Mhm.
but dad played football,
Right.
mom played basketball.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Or dad played basketball and goes, hey, so I get you might want to play soccer, but I can't help you with that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's when it becomes a challenge as well, if that's what the kid wants to do. And again, it's about being able to have that conversation with your child. I got a good buddy of mine who that's all he knew was basketball and football. And he said when his son was like 4 years old, he put all the balls out and said, "Hey, pick one." And he went and kicked the soccer ball. And he was like, "Okay, I guess we're gonna go play soccer." But he listened to what his kid wanted to do and stepped outside of his parental
Comfort zone.
ego.
Gotcha.
Um, to do it. And then, of course, from there, now you have to accept the fact, well, I don't know much. Either you have to research and figure it out, or pay somebody to train your kid to what they know. So, if Bryce wants to go kick, I'm going to go and pay for a kicking trainer because I can't really give him that. And even now, now that he's 13, he doesn't really listen to me anymore anyway. But that's neither here nor there.
Coach Abe? Coach Abe, you had something?
Speaking of training, as you know, like sports like football, basketball, you know, us being adults now, but when we were children, we didn't even know about no training, you know, anything like that. But now it's a big deal, you know. So as far as if I'm a parent, my stepson actually played in he's 12. He actually played in intramural soccer league. I think it's off in Fairburn, Georgia, like Sonoya Road exit. They have a big indoor thing there. But like I said, these other sports, you know, we kind of learn them on the fly. So if I'm a parent, you know, if I have a son who's maybe just say 8, would it be best to put him right into training, put him into intramural league to let him enjoy it, you know, just enjoy the fun of running up and down the field first, or, you know, just put him into training as soon as he's able to get training? Which one would you?
Yeah,
Or both?
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you out the gate. Let them play because I have 3 rules. And my rule number 1 is to have fun. If you're not having fun, then what's the point in doing it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I have my own personal training business, and I tell parents, I said, listen, don't bring me your money or your child if they're not willing to put in the work on their own first. Like, so are they going outside and kicking the ball in the air for at least 5 minutes a day? Are they doing things on their own before you force them to come to me? You know what I mean? Or go find a trainer. So my son played rec for 2 years before we stepped up there. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm sorry.
but it,
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay, one of my viewers say, my kid sucks, so I don't waste $2,000.
Let me tell you, it's so sometimes I tell people, like, the better your kid is in any of these sports, the more you're gonna pay. The better your kid is, the more you're gonna pay and travel and everything.
Okay.
But I'd like to think that any player in any sport can be developed into the best player they can be with the proper training, and as long as they have the best attitude and the work ethic.
All right.
I mean, listen. What if Jordan would have accepted the fact that he sucked when he got cut the first year, right? So you never know. He put in the work, right? Now where is he? But I'm just saying. I'm just using that as an example. Any player that gets turned down, you know, I mean, if they accept what that coach said, and they can do 2 things: walk away, or they can put in the work to prove them wrong. And so it's just that mentality. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's tough for me at an early age to tell a player. Now, as they get older, I mean, we have over 100 kids try out, and we only going to take 40 between JV and varsity. So I'm basically telling 60 something kids, like, that you suck. You know what I'm saying? Or that you're not good enough.
Got you when they get cut. That's what that means.
Nah, I'm just saying. I'm just playing. No. But I'm saying, but that you got, there's more work for you to do.
Yeah,
I've had kids.
That's what that means. When that axe fall, damn, man, I thought I was better than that. Well, hey.
Let me tell you, I've had kids try out for. I've cut players for 3 years in a row, and that 4th year they show up as a rock star, and it's because I've seen them on the field every day since their last cut. I've seen them in the gym every day since their last cut, and then they end up coming back, and you're like, whoa, what happened? But then there's some that get cut and walk away from the game. So I definitely recommend a season or 2 seasons. Just go out there and have some fun. Be the best on the field, and then go get humbled with other good players.
Okay, Coach, we got one more question. Then we're gonna let you tell us all of your contact info and everything. We hear your school has a first-round draft pick type football player. Do great players on other teams help your program?
Juju.
Do
like,
great
say,
players on other teams.
Your football team has a star
Yeah.
quarterback, and
Yes,
all of the
yeah.
scouts are coming there. And
Yes.
in the process of them being there for the week, because scouts usually stay longer than 2 or 3 days,
Right.
does that give your team some exposure or maybe a look or something?
So it doesn't for soccer, but it does for all the other football players. So like there was a couple of players that were, I guess, 3 stars or whatever, now get offers from all over the place, because 50 some odd scouts was at our spring game. 90 some odd scouts was at practice. You know what I'm saying? So similar in soccer. Instead of having those, you go, once you're at a big enough club, you go to different showcases, and some, especially when you play in high level leagues. In soccer, you'll get 200-300 coaches that'll come to a showcase to watch players. Instead of going to high school, they don't go to high school anymore for soccer. So because at a club, for example, like where my son plays, if you look at their whole age group, there may be 300, 400 kids in their age group, right? In U15, 14-year-olds. And at this club, the top team is the top 17 players, 18 players, right? So what you're telling all of the college scouts and all of the pro scouts is, out of the 300-400 kids we have access to, these are the best 18. And every club in Atlanta and every club across the country that are huge like that, that's what they're saying. These are the best 18 out of 300 to 400 kids that we have in our program. So all the scouts will go to one showcase and see all of these clubs' top players, as opposed to driving around or flying around going to different high schools. Like when I was coming up, I had to cut my highlights on a VHS cassette and put it in a brown envelope and mail it to a bunch of different, mail it off. Now in soccer, they go to showcases and walk around and go and see all of the best players, because the club essentially has done a lot of the pre-scouting for them.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It answers the question. All right, now, Coach, first off, you said something about your son being a prodigy, and you gave us his Instagram.
Prodigy.
Yeah, whatever. Don't get all out of that.
Don't do that.
Didn't you say top 11 in the state?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it doesn't mean he's a prodigy. It means that the people that assessed him, that have seen him in that regard. But again, I humbly say, everybody don't go try out for that team.
We talking about everybody. We talking about what the top 11 in the state is.
Yeah, he's the starter on that squad.
But Coach, give us his handle again. You gave us how to follow.
Yeah, it's Bryce Carter _23, BRYCE CARTER _23. That's pretty much where everything is for him. He wants his followers, and that way you can kind of watch his journey, and that's what will be sent out to different colleges and things of that nature.
Okay, now, how can parents that are watching this or that will watch it later, because we get a lot of viewers after the live show, how can they reach out to you if they're in that area or they want to come your way to get the coaching that you offer?
Right. So you on Facebook, I'm Sheldon McClendon on Facebook. On Instagram is The Skills Training. That's THESKILLZ is with a Z, training. On Facebook. On Instagram. But those are on two that I have out right now. It's Instagram and the Facebook. But it's my first and last name on Facebook. Just reach out to me. I put a lot of my communications on there. And we come back and holler at you guys some more. I can talk about this for a long time.
We're running out of time, but we did want to know out there. We definitely don't mind having you back.
Even when you
look, he know that song.
Go touchdown 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em up, hit 'em high.
Don't do the eagle over there. Now look. Both of y'all coach. Both of y'all down there are Eagle fans. I'm surrounded by birds that lose. Falcons.
He ain't won.
The Falcons.
Wait a minute.
And the Eagles.
Coach,
Dodo Bird.
Coach, don't play no team, man. He ain't won nothing.
He must be a Cowboys fan, a Cowgirl fan.
He just made me like the puke.
He's a
49ers. Oh God. It's been what? 96?
94.
89.
94? 94. Okay.
It was 89. Y'all,
Super Bowl 52.
Who was favored to win the Super Bowl by a blowout this year?
I don't know who was favored to win by a blowout.
Y'all was favored by 8? That's not a blowout.
That's not a blowout.
That's not a blowout.
That's not a blowout.
Y'all, against the Mahomes. Against Mahomes.
Coach, you see he getting emotional now. You gotta.
Yeah.
It's always emotional when it's a Falcon fan talking. All I got is 28-3.
28-3.
Coach, I appreciate you coming on, Coach. I really do appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the knowledge of the football.
Football is life.
I really appreciate that, man. And hopefully we can get him to come back on and educate us some more and get some of these other kids involved.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was Coach Sheldon McClendon. Oh, boy. Put that camera back up on that belly, boy. But anyway, man, Coach Sheldon McClendon, thank you for coming on, brother. We're definitely going to have you back with your prodigious son, since he ain't no prodigy. But, guys, we got a couple more minutes here, man. We're going to go over a little more before we have to let everybody go on with their nights. The Floyd Mayweather fight with the Brawl for it All with him and John Gotti III. Did you guys actually get a chance to look at it and hear about all of the stuff that happened after the fact?
First and foremost, I was Telefimo. Is it Telefimo Lopez? If I got that right?
Yeah, Fimo. Yeah.
He fought Saturday night. I didn't even know Floyd was having a fight. It wasn't promoted in my eyes because now I feel like Floyd is just doing it for community service, so everybody can see him. Pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And then it's becoming a circus with his exhibition fights. We paying, and I think Abe said it was $90 to see that mess.
Right. Because he's
$90 to see that mess. He's the cash cow. The Zeus Network has given him some form of a contract so he can do this shit. Which I'm not mad at him making his money. I'm not mad at him making his money. But where are you finding these guys to fight? And when I see you go with 6 rounds, this fight had to be stopped because of the jaw jacking and all the wrestling antics that was going on involved in this fight. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Well, see, the thing is, Floyd is so good that people don't realize what so good is. John Gotti was bigger than him by 50, 60 pounds, it looked like, standing in that ring, and he got made to look a fool by a guy that really knows how to fight. So Floyd is not stupid by a long shot. Jake Paul, whichever one of them Paul boys he fought, was bigger than him by 50, 60 pounds. And Floyd said it. I'm not even going to train, and I'm going to beat him. And he didn't. Went in there with a scruffy beard and everything and beat the mess out of this dude for all those rounds. And then, he stretched it out like he did with Conor. So, in my opinion, it's more for shock value, number one. And the fact to show these YouTubers and these name-only guys, John Gotti, who's supposedly a 2-0 as a professional and an ex-MMA fighter, that you ain't as good as you think you are. Now, I'm considered the best in the world for a reason, so let me show you. And, with Gotti, I guess he used the old school tactic of let me call him out his name or let me trash talk him and try to get him off his game, and didn't realize he was messing with a master because he was doing all this clinching and dirty deed stuff. And as soon as the ref stopped the fight because of it, then you want to go fight. Why you wasn't fighting before he stopped it?
And to be honest with you, got caught with a two-piece real quick too.
Yeah. He ran over there like you finna. I'm finna show no beat him up now and pop up, back up off me. So yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, coach.
Yeah, man. Floyd is definitely the greatest. Like Skip said, we definitely have to, appreciate his greatness. But however, like we said, the fight was $90, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not spending $100 unless I know it's gonna be I don't want to say a challenge for Floyd, but a serviceable fight. Like I think this was, I don't want to say money grab for Floyd because he got money, but this fight
money grab for
was like
everybody else.
Why?
But because everybody else
is
using him as a money grab now. They're paying him up front and they expect to get a return on the money they paid him out. Which it's one of those things, man, where Floyd, I'm gonna get my money first and y'all can get your money after the fact. Because you think about it, when he fought Pacquiao, it still was $90. I think the pay-per-view was $90 when he fought Pacquiao. I'm sorry?
Yeah. Who, if anyone, is right now a serviceable or so-called good fight for Floyd?
Well, you got there's a couple of them, but he's too old to fight them guys now. Even though he's still Floyd, I don't think he'd get in the ring with Stevenson and those guys. I think they're his 47. They're not in his category. They're lighter, or
yeah, they're in his category.
Right,
I think
they're in his weight class. You ain't gonna just jump in the ring with them guys because now you got to go really train and beat Floyd. Not saying he can't beat him, but you ain't gonna be able to take what they're gonna give you like before, like you used to, because you've been away. You too rusty, in my opinion. That's why Floyd, and he ain't retired because of them. Because if he had kept training, then I still think he'd tear their ass up. But no, not right now. I don't think he'd come back. I don't think he'd come back to fight those guys.
Which
is why I'm not going to
dish out this type of money, and you
Mike Tyson.
you just keeping it competitive to keep your itch alive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like most
scratching the itch.
Yeah, like most athletes do when they step away from the game. We know he the money man, he the money team. He has boxers under his camp. But it might just be, like I said, something to put his boxers, because you have some preliminary fights, I do believe, before these, and these, give them a showcase where they haven't got to the ESPN level, or the Showtime level, or whatever the case may, HBO level, or whatever the case may be with boxing, so it's a whole business aspect for him. If I can get in here and play around, this is an exhibition, play around for 5-6 rounds or whatever you get to, I'm cool. I'm not gonna get injured because I know how to protect myself and so forth and so on. Hey, they gonna pay him $50 million to get in there and fuck off, or he probably will do it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who Floyd is. Do we need the money? Do he need the money? No. But if I got 3 other fighters on this card that I need to showcase, and I can get them this purse that I'm finna get and keep them up under my umbrella, as to say, and we build a brand as the money team or whatever the case may be in boxing. Boom! Now he got a stable that he's trying to, keep. Michael B. Jordan with his
I'll read these comments.
This is crazy as hell.
Some about Mike Tyson, they make $1 zillion. Number one, Floyd ain't getting in the ring with Mike Tyson.
No. So all of the extracurricular stuff that took place after the fight, I saw that it was like 3 or 4 different other fights there. I'm not sure if that was because of Gotti's people or just fans in the audience just wilding out or what, but I did see a young lady in Gotti's family threatened, I think it's Yaya Mayweather. I think that's Mayweather's daughter. They were
okay.
Is that his granddaughter? Daughter or granddaughter?
That's his daughter.
His daughter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I saw that, and I'm just thinking, like, what was all of the was Gotti and his people mad because they stopped the fight? Which Gotti, you was getting your ass whooped. You
Well,
know,
see,
he was toying with you. You know,
right. See, the trash talking is part of the reason why the ref stopped the fight, and it got personal. You know, I think the N word could have been thrown around. I think Floyd could have called him a fake mobster. You know, whatever. You know, you throw a barb for a barb. So I think it got so personal that the ref was like, "Wait a minute, this is gonna blow up just like it did after the fight." It was brawls everywhere, in the locker room, outside the locker rooms, and everything else. So I think once everybody that was ringside could hear all of these jabs being thrown, it got personal, and she decided, let me step into and threaten his daughter. But when you have the name like John Gotti has, and you make threats like that, if that girl get a scratch on her, her ass gonna be up under the prison, along with him and everybody else associated with him that has anything to do with the former, his granddaddy's, whatever they do, the mafia, what have you. So I think that was all talk, and they wanted to show, hey, we more than just boxers. You know, we
And and the terminology that was used from what I read was they was calling them zoo animals. And your daughter just had another zoo animals. Y'all just a circus over there. And we know what you're trying to say. We know what you were trying to
monkey.
perpetrate and what you're saying. You know, I know it's the mafia, the mob, whatever they want to call, but homeboy got a whole bunch of money behind him.
A whole bunch.
Now y'all do all
lots.
that shit. He went into business with y'all for some of whatever reason it was. This is a business venture. Because Floyd, one thing about him, he's a businessman first. So whatever underdealings y'all had going on, y'all have ruined it with this type of behavior on a main stage. You embarrass yourself, you embarrass your family. Because if we going on mob ties or mob mafia, you don't embarrass your family on no situations. We don't do that.
Because
We don't
if
do
you
that.
pay attention, when that brawl was happening, what did them guys do? They isolated Floyd and walked him out of there. You notice
Mhm.
after when him and Gotti exchanged them blows and everybody went in there and started pushing, you saw what they did? They grabbed Floyd and pulled him back. Because
Yes.
ain't nobody gonna get sued but Floyd. So let me
That's
get you out
right.
of here, Floyd, before you have to throw a punch and get sued for defending yourself. So they got
That's
him out
right.
of there and walked him on to the locker room. Smartest thing his people could do. Now,
That's right.
before we go on to Zion, you look at Ja. If his people would have did what Floyd's people did for him, he wouldn't be in this situation. Protect that man. Knowing Floyd was there, he could have. Everybody rushing him. Yeah, you could defend yourself. But who would have got sued? So let me
And
pull
who
him
name
and walk him on
Well,
out of here and let him. There you go.
and
Ain't
who name
no lawsuit now. You know what
and
I
who name and who name as of right now, we got up this morning when I seen it. For you Twitter people out there, Floyd name was trending. They didn't have the guy. It was straight Floyd. You
mean?
clicked on
Exactly.
there, you see brawl after brawl after brawl. Oh, at the Mayweather fight, it was a brawl. At the Mayweather fight, you don't hear nothing. That's why I said Mayweather fought. You could have put up Gotti, and the first thing when us three sitting up here, we would have thought about the mafia guy, Gotti, who, like I told you, is he Ken Arturo Gotti?
No.
Because that's the only box I know they ain't got it.
But it's spelled different though. Arturo Gotti is Hispanic of a Hispanic descendant is Gati, not Goti.
Mhm.
So
yes.
that's yo Gotti. Oh my god. But anyway, man, before we get out of here, man, let's move on to the Zion Williams conflict. I'm gonna call it a conflict. The Zion simp. Oh my god. D, take it away. Let's talk about Zion.
Listen, man, this is a sad situation for this young man. He's 22 years old, hell of an athlete. This is not his first rodeo and getting himself in social media. And this is the difference when Mr. in the background and Kev that's not here that asked a question a couple of weeks back about the other players that we know, the Jordans, the Magic, and so forth. They didn't have social media. That's the difference.
Mhm.
Not saying they didn't get themselves involved in this, but this is an issue where this kid, I do believe, just like a John Morant, because he's in the same draft, the other guy that played for Charlotte, that guy that got caught up with the render girl, they got the baby. These guys, you could tell, have been isolated because they were supreme athletes at their sport. Where they weren't exposed, in my opinion, to certain things socially. Because the things that are coming out on this kid right here, first of all, they already talk about his work ethic on the basketball court. He can't get his weight down. He's been hurt half the season. I don't think we got a full 82 game season out of this kid yet.
Nope.
For that franchise, they've cut him a check for $90 million. Am I correct, Skip? They've
Something
given
in
him
that area.
almost $200 million. He hasn't even played a whole season. He's been an all-star one time. And they just gave him that because they was again, they're still looking for somebody to pass their torch to. We've heard controversy after controversy that he didn't want to be in New Orleans. Now, you do what you want to. Do whatever, your money, whatever. But you need to be a man about your situation, sir. How are you letting these 33-year-old women, over 30 women, simp you out like this? Because that's what they're doing.
But that's the thing. We're talking about vets now. We're not talking about, high school girls trying to cling. Like quote unquote, when the pretty white cheerleader or pretty black athlete can say, you know what, let me mess with him so I can fake a pregnancy and hook him. You talk about a grown ass woman that could teach him some shit or fuck his mind up, and there you go.
See, and that's the part where I'm shocking, because he got caught by when he was talking to the other young lady, and the brother exposed him. I don't know if you remember this. This was the first incident. This wasn't no porn star or none of these girls that he didn't came in contact with. Now, it was a regular old chick he was hollering at. She showed her brother who he was. The brother exposed because he didn't want his sister talking to Zion at the time, of that persuasion. Couldn't he said that? Okay. Now, we know NBA players, athletes, and entertainers, they do their thing. But you got to keep your stuff clean, brother. This is too much to me, in my opinion. And he doesn't have the father around him because of the
He don't have the veteran. He don't have the veteran presence to teach him about this. Dion is doing it with his players in college. He's getting them this education now before they get Zion's type money. Now, of course, football players don't get the kind of money that Zion got straight out of college, but they do get enough money to put them in situations like this. So look at Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce, everywhere he go, he got a prostitute on his arm or an escort on his arm, and he brag about it. At the Heat game in Miami, I think it was game 3 or game 4, he was sitting beside KG talking about, this is my date for the night. This is my girlfriend, my wife for the night. And she was an escort. It was all in the news.
Oh, hell no.
So, these are the type things, if Paul Pierce was a player, it would have been magnified. I read it on one of those back news sports posts where KG got his phone. He was like, hey, man, you drunk. Shut up. It's cameras all around us. And somebody reported. You see, so without Zion having that veteran presence, say, hey, man, it's good for you to go get yourself something, but be careful of this. Be careful of that. He didn't have that.
But Skip, what I don't understand, I'm gonna let Ed go after this. What I don't understand in my previous lifestyle that I never understood why. I'm gonna hit this right. Well, just stay with me, Skip. Why? If you know these people are in this type of profession, you've seen other people be with them. You've seen other people, they've seen them do all types of things and so forth and so on. Hell, you done seen your homeboy have a baby, like the rappers. How in the world is Bow Wow got a child by this young lady, and then the future comes right behind her and has the child? It's always been seen when we looked at some of these shows. I tell this young lady here with me every day, you got to ask you a question. How did George Taylor get involved in these circles with these millionaires? Who put them in place to hook these millionaires and things of this nature? There you go. I just throw that out there.
A few things with this. Zion is just, I think he's younger than Ja. I think he's 22.
22. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he came up in the age where it is social media and stuff like that. So he has probably, the porn star I'm talking about, he has probably seen her videos or whatever the case may be. He probably DM'd her to reach out to her or had his folks do it or however it may be. Okay, this is my problem with Zion. All right, like one of y'all said, Zion, you know she a porn star. So she done been on the sausage wire just everywhere, bro. You feel what I'm saying? So you made her feel like you big by all of the tweets, like she's tweeting 4 days, like 4 days later, she's tweeting 70 tweets a day. Just Zion. Okay. He was giving her $107,000 a month for allowance, which for Zion in his contract, you said 190 is kind of chump change to him.
Right.
To him, you know, if he makes millions, 100K is, you know, like $100 for us, you know. So with this, Zion made the young boy mistake of putting this porn star lady on maybe not the highest pedestal, but some kind of pedestal to where she felt like they had feelings for each other, you know, which is why she keeps putting all of these tweets out. If he had treated her, now I love the ladies, I'm not being disrespectful at all. Please don't take it like that. If he had treated her like what she was, which is a porn star who was out to get his money, he would not be in this situation. But she showed tweets. Oh, I love you. I'm gonna do this. Move to New Orleans. This, that. Showing copies of the transfer. 25,000, 10,000, 25,000.
You missed the big picture.
10.
You
know, he made her feel like anything other than just a lady on the street.
She made him feel that way first.
I agree with you.
You missed the big picture here. As a superstar, as a country boy superstar like he is, not a city boy, you're not exposed to being able to get what you want when you want it.
That's real.
Now that this porn star, you think about it, Kim Kardashian wasn't shit till she fucked Ray J. Until the tape came out. Yeah, they had money. Now she's a fucking billionaire from fucking. That's
my mother.
My mother. So when you get a porn star, whatever, it's the truth. I ain't lying. They can get their feelings hurt all they want to. And she don't lay down and cock her legs over.
My mother's watching, sir.
I'm sorry, Mama. I'm just telling the truth, Mama. I know you. I'm sorry. I apologize. You know how I am. My apologies. But now, my point is this. Man, when we was in high school, I used to watch this porn star. I wonder if I can get her.
Right.
The infatuation with what he saw her do on these tapes, she did it to him, and it blew his mind. You see what I'm saying? If you're not used to that caliber of interaction, sexual exploitation, whatever you want to call it, then she got him first.
Yeah.
So in order to keep me on, you're going to have to, I don't have no problem with that. That ain't that for me.
But you know what's sad, Skip? I was reading some of the comments, like Abe seen them too, and I see some of the other porn women, some of the young ladies were commenting under her post, and they was like, baby, just let it go. I just like for them to pay my father's fee and go on about my business. I don't even take it this far. And this is the thing, me and Bo had this conversation. You know what I believe what's happened? Skip, the roles have reversed in this thing. Well, now the women are the players and the pimps, and these jokers are the simps and the suckers and you know what I'm saying? Look at the roles now.
Right.
Now
but that's the thing. But D, and this gonna be a little raunchy. When you get your dick wet a different way than what you used to, I'm sorry, Mama, but when it happens that way, that's it. That's just it. Your mind is at your pow. Ooh.
But again, especially with where he comes from. See,
exactly.
Some of these jokers in the league, they lame. They just put it out there. They just got a bunch of zeros behind their name. They lame. It is what it is. They lead with their pocketbook from the jump.
Or they
Now
think with the wrong head. Like your mama used to say, you thinking with the wrong head, son.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Dave.
But she is reacting like
A girlfriend.
her money is cut off. Her stuff is her
Possibly.
everything now is gonna be cut off. You feel what I'm
She's
saying?
switching
The
it.
right people are getting in his ear now.
But she's switching it. She's switching it. 1 minute, Skip, you got a 33-year-old woman on here talking about he's my daddy. He's my daddy. He's
Be my
this.
daddy too. All of this.
Yeah.
Hell.
Yeah. She said, I don't even care. He ain't gonna lead this. Long as he said whatever. How you gonna move me and her? And now the young lady who's the one that, because all I've seen her, I know Skip has seen it, the one that has the child that's supposed to be impregnated, she's the one, Skip. Did you see these two girls get to fighting on the side of the street? One walked down. That's the mother of the child. Now she's coming out. Now you got a third woman coming out. It's like all this stuff is spilling over on this young kid. And I'm like, damn, bruh, you mean tell me you ain't had nobody wrap their arms around you and say, hold on, kid?
No, they don't.
Just like,
but
like we got
we're hold on. We're not in our 20s no more. We've experienced life. We know we can see this shit a mile away. He can't. Or he couldn't.
Yeah.
So for us to sit here and say, man, goddamn, you didn't see that? No, he didn't see it.
Nah, he didn't.
He was blinded by everything else. The fact that I can make a phone call or make a DM and get what I want, it ain't because I got money, it's because I'm Zion. You know what I mean? He is missing the point about why he's able to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes out, damn, I look like a fucking fool. Well, it's too late now. You see, so like we said about Ja had the right upbringing or whatever, however you want to put it. And then he dismissed all of it because I'm the breadwinner now. I'm the man. Everybody got to come to me, you know, to be able to do this or be able to do that. And look where it landed it. It's just the opposite with Zion. It's just not guns. It's babies. These babies are going to cost him more than if Ja stop. If Ja don't do nothing else with a gun, he's done. But these babies going to cost him for the next 18 to 20 years if they go to college.
Yes, sir.
The mistake is different, but it's just as big.
Yes, sir.
You see, so we can sit here and bash him for it, but we also got to think about the fact that he didn't have enough common sense to say, "Hey, mama, I want you to go with me everywhere." Look what one for the Ravens. His mama was in him everywhere from day one. No off the field bullshit.
Go ahead.
And I think too that, you know, him dealing with this older woman, he initially thought that she was not going to behave like she behaved now.
Of course.
You know, and she is giving me
gold digger vibes.
Broke B vibes. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if like you've been making your porno OnlyFans money, whatever kind of money you've been making before Zion, you know, so ma'am, just go about doing what you was doing before now. You feel what and her screaming him out like that, her screaming him out like this, all of these tweets, that's not gonna make him come back, bro.
You see, mama.
Mama say green as a cabbage.
That's real, mama.
But at the same time, this what this does happen too, AB, and Skip knows this too. It's always two to tango. It's the first one that catch feelings first.
Him? No doubt it was him. You paying all that money, it had to be you. You don't pay a woman to mess with you. You pay a woman to leave. You get what I'm saying? So if you constantly paying her, now you're paying her to come back.
Agreed.
So yeah, it's him, not her. She just played her role the right way, did what she needed to do the right way. So if you paid her more than once, you paying her to come back now. That's the bottom line.
That's real.
Yeah.
And you know how the rapper said, boy, I pay her to leave. It ain't tricking. I'm paying her to get the hell on. Bottom line. But Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We didn't go over, but we did have a very good show tonight. Want to give a shout out to Coach Sheldon McClendon for coming in, the great soccer coach. Y'all remember it's I thought I should have written it down. Sheldon McClendon on Facebook, and I forgot his Instagram handle, but look him up, Coach Sheldon McClendon on Facebook. If you're trying to get your kids into soccer, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought
the skills trainer. I think that's what
the
it said.
skills trainer.
With a Z
Skills
at the
with a
end.
Z, SKILLZ trainer on Instagram. If you're trying to get your kids some exposure or some coaching, and his son is Bryce_Carter23 on Instagram. If you want to see what his coaching has done, his son is, I call him a prodigy because he's in the top 11 in the state. So hey, it's what it is. Y'all can go check it out. Coach Abe, let me get your final thoughts on the night, man.
Once again, I just want to thank Coach Sheldon for all he does for the soccer community, for what he's congratulating for what he's doing out there in Carrollton. I'm hoping that these athletes, superstars, famous people, whoever, learn a lesson from Zion, bro. Just pay to leave, or you got to establish some kind of ground rules to where, hey, I'm gonna pay you, but you got to shut your ass up. Don't put my business out there. Don't do this. Like, it's got to be way. If you're gonna go about doing it that way, you gotta, protect yourself too, because this will not take away his NBA money, contract, anything like that. But it does leave like a stain on him. You see what I'm saying? So I hope all the athletes coming up, the ones in the league now, just take this lesson from Zion. Try to make better choices with the women you're dealing with. Hey man, you got millions of dollars, so I understand if you want to flaunt it to throw it every now and then, but you just gotta make the right decisions about what you're doing and who you're dealing with. And that's all I got.
All right, Coach D, give me your final thoughts on the night, man.
We have breaking news at halftime. We have a 51-44 score.
55.
55. Okay,
55.
so I told you it was gonna be a pride game. They were gonna fight. This is pride. They try to win. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. But again, man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, we're trying to bring y'all different cultures of the coaching aspect in life and things of that nature. Just get some more exposure. I know everybody doesn't talk about soccer or some of the other sports and some of the things that these great men are doing and some of these kids and women that they're doing in these kids' life, man. We just trying to make sure we get everybody out there to get their kids. Coach Abe is doing a marvelous job in what he does, and I hope you guys are getting some education from us and what we're learning on the fly and things that we don't know. And maybe, everybody's not going to be a football player. Everybody's not going to be a basketball or baseball player. You know what I'm saying? It might be something just like he said. He was playing kickball. All of us have played kickball. You know what I'm saying? And, because we didn't have a baseball bat at the time or we couldn't find a ball. So, hey, we're going to play kickball. Same difference. So you never know, man. Pay attention to your kid if they have a talent. If you can invest in it, hey, you never know where to take you. So thank y'all again, man.
All right. And with that being said, man, I thought the game was going to be over at halftime between Denver and Miami. And like Coach Abe and D said, Miami going to put up a fight. It looks good going in the half, being up by 7. It was 51, D. I misread it, but 51-44. That shows me that, damn, what Denver got going on. We came to play, and we're going to stretch this out as far as we can. So kudos to Miami. I want y'all to win, but I don't see it, because y'all always win the fourth quarter. But in the game that y'all lost the fourth quarter. So you can't afford to lose the fourth quarter tonight. And I want to give a shout out, like Coach Abe did, to Coach McClendon for coming on, introducing us to the soccer world. We are going to try to have him back on sometime later in the season. Some of the things we're going to do upcoming is get out to the Lambeau games. We also have a thing that we're going to try to do with Lawrence Taylor here coming up in the next weekend or so, to get out there, and we're going to go live from that if you guys are paying attention. And also, man, to all of our viewers, I know We don't have a lot now, but y'all keep watching. We're going to keep bringing y'all this content. Thank you guys again for tuning in. And shout out to all of our sponsors. AJ.
What's funny is I don't do it. I just feel like war. I don't know. You got somebody.
You can turn that off at any time, please.
We got a control room foolishness going on. We got
I'm saying for him not to have an athletic football team, he keeps playing that bullshit. We embarrassed the other bird fan over here.
I wasn't saying nothing.
I'm just saying that when you got oh God, Coach Abe left. But anyway, man, thank you guys for tuning in, man. We're gonna keep bringing y'all this content. We're gonna keep putting it out there, and hopefully, it'll grab hold. It's gonna grab hold because we know y'all need to know it. But again, that's our final take for the night, man. Kev, if you're still on, man, we're still praying for you, brother. Give us some update on what's going on with your family, and we're gonna go and watch the rest of this game. With that being said, last take a shot in the dark on behalf of Abe, Coach Abe, and D. My name is Skip. Thank you guys for tuning in.